cannot take a break. We cannot fail to graduate 5,000 new doctors and nurses this year.
COVID and college campuses. What Ohio's public universities say about a rise in cases, testing, and whether closing is an option. Plus, too soon? We talked to a doctor about whether convalescent plasma is the COVID treatment we hoped it would be.
Will you be getting the flu shot this year? We're going to give you a chance to weigh in on our interactive poll. Plus, our doctor tells us the benefits to the vaccine and when the best time to get it is.
We don't even have to use rest areas. We have a bathroom in the RV.
COVID travel, from RVs to Airbnbs, how the pandemic could permanently change the way we vacation.
I told you we need a dome.
Not opposed to it.
And Baker is back. We're going to give you a first look at one of his new progressive commercials starring his wife, Emily. Also this year, they introduce some new characters. We'll tell you all about it. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
I don't know about you, Bets. I'm a big fan of those commercials. I hope they're as funny this year as they were last year. Hello again, Northeast Ohio. Welcome to our Wednesday edition of What's New. We are halfway to Friday. That's what we call Wednesday around here. Thank you so much for joining us. With Betsy Kling, I'm Jay Crawford. Betsy, good to see you again.
Thanks. You too, Jay. Happy Wednesday, everybody. And boy, if you're anything like me, the day starts off awful early, online, getting school going. And we do continue to keep an eye on the schools as they are reopening, of course. And that means we're also keeping an eye on COVID numbers. In the past 24 hours here in Ohio, 1,157 new cases were reported. That's higher than the 21-day average, but much lower than the 1,400 plus new cases reported yesterday.
Yeah, in fact, Betsy, all four of our major coronavirus data points are down today. Current positivity rate back in the threes, 3.8%, down 0.6 of a point from yesterday. Our hospital numbers continue to go down. The number of patients hospitalized statewide is now 746. That's down 31 patients from yesterday. It's also a decrease of more than 15% over the past 2 weeks. Great news there. Deaths also down from yesterday. 11 reported today. That's 16 fewer than were reported yesterday. Now, the age group seeing a rise in cases, college kids. As students return to school campuses in Ohio and around the country, even the most carefully designed plans to bring students back have seen some spikes in cases. Mark Namick reports schools are being forced to adjust, but for now, they have no plans to cancel classes.
Though classes are weeks away, Miami University in Southwest Ohio saw a jump of 400 cases in 1 week among students and others living off campus. Ohio State and Kent State are also seeing spikes as students return. But the Inter-University Council of Ohio, which advises and coordinates plans for 14 big schools, says colleges and universities are not surprised and remain committed to keeping schools open and students graduating.
We're seeing a small spike, an anticipated spike, really, in the number of cases on virtually every campus where students are residing. Not everybody has exactly the same plan. Miami is going to require tests before students come back to campus. Ohio State is doing more on-campus testing than some others. But there's a lack of testing resources.
And students will graduate this year?
Oh, yeah. Students are going to graduate this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a decline in the total number of graduates. But my hope is that it's within 70-80% of the normal number.
As cases increase, the Intercouncil expects schools to move more classes online. Most have already established a hybrid teaching system. In the meantime, they're asking students to practice good social distancing behavior. Mark Namick, 3 News.
Well, also lurking in the background of your healthy mind and topping your feed at 5, the flu shot. We want to know if you'll be getting yours this season. You can head to WKYC.com/vote now to weigh in. We've had over 1,000 people vote already, so it's been a pretty hot topic. But you'd be hard pressed to find a credible medical professional who says not to get one of the flu shots. In other words, they still recommend it. Correspondent Monica Robbins joins us now, of course. And Monica, I have to ask you, we keep hearing about the COVID vaccines coming very soon. We still have this whole flu thing going on. I mean, to me, I'm kind of at a loss as to what exactly to do. Do I get both of them together? Is it bad to get them together? Do I get one before the other? What do I do?
You get your flu shot now.
Okay.
That's what you need to do, especially in the midst of a respiratory disease pandemic. That flu shot is even more important because the last thing anybody needs is a co-infection with COVID and influenza. And remember, that COVID vaccine isn't available yet. Now, flu shots are becoming more widely available, and doctors say now is the time to get one. So it will take your body about 2 to 4 weeks to build up antibodies to fight the flu if you're exposed. And the flu is predictably unpredictable. We don't know when flu season will start or end. We don't know how bad it's going to be. And the good news, the Southern Hemisphere had a milder flu season, likely because all the COVID-19 precautions in place. But a lot of people have been asking if the flu shot will help them fight COVID too.
Getting the flu shot doesn't protect you against COVID. What it does do is to offer you the best protection that we can give against getting another severe respiratory illness. People forget that every year, 62,000 people die of influenza. Hundreds of thousands are hospitalized. Millions of people get it. And it's not a trivial disease.
So get your flu shot now between now and Halloween, and continue following those guidelines, because masks, washing your hands, and social distancing work against the flu too. And that, coupled with a run on flu vaccines in the Southern Hemisphere, is probably why their season was so light. And also remember, if we have a bad season, that's going to fill up hospital beds too. And because symptoms overlap so much, docs aren't going to be able to tell who has what. So since the COVID vaccine, Bets, isn't available just yet, you're going to want to get that one too when it becomes available. But right now, the best thing you can do is get your flu shot, because last year flu season hit us early.
It did. And, you know, it's always a topic of conversation when the flu shot discussion happens. It's only accurate half the time. It doesn't really do anything to protect you because it always changes and whatnot. So please address the effectiveness of the flu shot.
Well, I will freely admit, last year's flu shot was only about 50% effective. That is not typical. You know, usually they're over 75% effective. And it's a gamble we take every single year. Now, what I can tell you is this year's vaccine contains 4 strains of flu, and hopefully it will be a perfect match for whatever decides to show up here. But bottom line, in this time of a pandemic, it's the only thing we have available that can actually prevent you from getting a respiratory disease. And believe me, if you've ever had actual influenza, it is utterly miserable. So talk to your doctor if you're not sure. Talk to your doc about your options. And there are a lot of respiratory illnesses coming at us when the weather gets colder, but influenza truly is deadly, and that's why there's a vaccine for it, and that's not to be taken lightly. It is the one thing we have. It's the simplest thing we can do. And believe me, I've had influenza. I get my flu shot every year because I never want to experience that again. It was utterly horrible.
I remember it very well, and she did complain a lot, and Monica does not complain a lot, believe it or not. She is one tough cookie, as we all know. All right, so just to review the 3 rules of Monica. Rule number 1, get your flu shot. Rule number 2, don't touch your face. Rule number 3, Monica?
Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands.
There she is. All right, couldn't do it without it. Thanks so much, Monica. Jay?
Well, here's an important reminder for everyone that's out there watching right now. Time is running out for you to fill out and send back your census form. The deadline is 4 weeks from today, September 30th. As of this week, nearly 49% of Clevelanders have completed their census forms. Below 50%, and that, by the way, is the second worst rate for any large city in the country. So why is it so important that we make sure everyone is counted? Well, the U.S. Census results decide where $900 billion in federal funding goes. That money pays for things like fire stations, public schools, road repairs, as well as hospitals. Here's how to make sure that you are counted. You can go to 2020census.gov to fill out the form. You might also get an email, perhaps a call, a letter, or a knock on your door if you haven't yet responded. Betsy, we talk about the importance of this. I was stunned to hear that Cleveland is the second worst in the country. Less than 50% have responded. In our neighborhood Monday, we saw a census worker was going through the neighborhood, and I struck up a conversation. He was actually looking for all of the addresses to make sure that each house was accounted for. Only one of the 14 houses on our streets, he told me, had not responded. And I told him that couple splits time between their house here and a southern house. So I'm guessing that they sent in their form from that address. If so, my street had 100% participation. That's what we need. This is big money that's up for grabs.
It's huge money. It's also representation in Congress. I mean, there's a really big deal that's associated with this. So you definitely want to be one who is counted.
Absolutely.
Sure. Well, let's get an idea of what's happening elsewhere in the news today. Russ Mitchell joins us now from over at the big desk. Hi there, Russ.
Hey, Betsy. Hey, Jay. Count me in, certainly. Good afternoon to both of you. Good afternoon, everyone. Canton police have put out another call for help in the investigation of a 1-year-old. Ace Lucas was killed after shots were fired outside his home in the 1000 block of Clarendon Avenue Southwest in July. A bullet hit him while he slept. His twin brother was injured. Police re-released a video today, this video, in fact, hoping someone can identify these men. Absentee ballot request forms are arriving in mailboxes across the state this week. If you want to vote absentee, you need to return that form to your county board of elections, and they will send you the absentee ballot. You should get that request in no later than October 27th. And the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland today outlined a mixed bag on the state of the economy. Loretta Mester says she thinks it bottomed out in the second quarter, which ended June 30th, is experiencing strong growth now, and she is projecting positive growth for the end of the year. However, she says because of coronavirus, recovery will be fragile, and it is going to take time for the job market to return to pre-pandemic levels. So once again, Betsy, a mixed bag there.
Definitely is. Got to build that trust back up with everybody. All right. Russ, thanks so much. We'll see you back here at 6 for What Matters Most.
See ya.
Listen to this.
Tower, American 1997. We just passed a guy in a jetpack. We just saw the guy pass by us jetpack. Only in LA.
Yeah, you heard that right. A guy on a jetpack at 3,000 feet above LA. That is two commercial airplane pilots who were coming in approach to LAX, and they saw a guy with a jetpack at 3,000 feet. That's not normal, certainly, but federal investigators are now on it, and they are looking into eyewitness reports, not only from those airline pilots, but elsewhere, of a person wearing a jetpack in LA's airspace. The reports came into the tower at LAX Airport Sunday that someone was hovering, as I said, 3,000 feet above the ground, maybe 300 yards or so away from one of the planes. Experts say that getting that close to a plane on its final approach, obviously very dangerous. And another part of the conversation now, shifting beyond the imagination of flying people, right? It's the growing list of hazards that pilots have to face. There's drones, there's geese, there's other planes and laser pointers, and now jetpacks. Unbelievable. I saw that, I was like, no.
I've seen them. They've used jetpacks before to fly into stadiums hosting the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Very cool sight. Two things. One, I'm jealous. I really, really want to try that. It looks like it's probably the most fun thing you can do in the world. Secondly, you're right about the danger. I mean, my good, 3,000 feet, Betsy.
Yeah, that's not small.
No, that is way, way up in the sky. And if a commercial jet liner is coming in for a landing, these things are big. They're not easily maneuverable. If one of those happened to get in the way, it's going to end badly. It's not going to be good.
That's when I want my pilot focused on what's coming. That runway, focus.
Yeah.
Don't look at the guy with the
I love the comment, Bets. Only in LA.
Oh, what a mess.
Unbelievable. Okay, next on What's New, vacation getaways aren't just changing during the pandemic. How some of these changes, and Betsy, some of them are pretty cool, could be permanent.
Then later, Cavs star Kevin Love and his big confession about his time playing with LeBron James. We're also going to take a look at the forecast. There's a few showers still floating around Northeast Ohio, but in the long term, it's the cool down that's getting a lot of people's attention. I have details on all of it straight ahead.
Welcome back to What's New. Hotel stays and air travel have all dropped off big time since COVID hit. In fact, listen to these numbers. According to industry estimates, air travel in the U.S. is down 70% since the virus hit. That's year over year. People are, though, still vacationing, and not just close to home. Consumer investigator Danielle Serino tells us how travelers are getting creative with their trips, and it just might change the way we vacation forever.
Audrey, when they close the road, they put up big signs like this one.
National Lampoon's Vacation, not exactly a dream vacation, but driving cross country, even just a few states away, has outpaced flying since COVID.
People right now are spending more time on vacations where they can control as many of the variables as they can.
And one of the most popular ways these days, traveling by RV. In fact, a recent survey by the RV Industry Association found 46 million Americans plan to take an RV trip in the next 12 months.
I believe that they were all maybe going to condos and beaches, and now they're going to have an experience in more of a family-oriented type vacation.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
We are literally using this for a safe mode of transportation.
Susan Zanetti and her wife are driving Susan's 88-year-old parents 1,500 miles to Utah to see her brothers and their families because they thought it was too risky to fly.
We don't even have to use rest areas. We have a bathroom in the RV. So the only thing I have to do is pump gas.
And to avoid hotels, they're staying at campgrounds along the way, turning the trip into an adventure, something also trending up.
We're going to be in Nebraska, we're going to be in Wyoming, Iowa, Illinois. It's a great way to see the country.
Natalie Newbert and her family also saw new sights when they rented an Airbnb in the suburbs of Wheeling, West Virginia, instead of staying downtown where her family had been vacationing for centuries.
It was just nice to see different parts of that area down there because I'm used to seeing more of like their little city part.
She says they got to relax and enjoy each other versus eating out or running to events.
Staying at a hotel down there was kind of out of the question. And that's when we came across this historic farmhouse that would allow us to have a socially distanced vacation, but still be able to have somewhat of a normal, summer plan.
And as COVID forces more people to change the way they travel, experts say the face of vacations may change forever.
What's going to happen is people are going to discover their local communities. And this is going to have a way of leveling the playing field where more communities can participate in travel.
If you plan on booking a rental home, RV, or campground, make sure you read their cancellation policies very carefully because some won't give you a break if you need to opt out, even if it's for a COVID-related reason. I'm Danielle Serino, 3 News.
All right, Danielle, thanks. Betsy, you a camper in an RV?
Yes.
Me too.
Camping my entire life. I love it.
Me too.
My parents said that we used to go to this little tiny campground that's still in western portions of Maryland. And the first time we went, I think I was 3 years old, and my mom took one outfit for every day. We blew through the outfits in like the first day. So
yeah, that happens.
Yeah, we pack up a little bit after that. But yeah, grew up camping.
RVs are great fun. They really are. I think everybody should do it.
They are, and there's so many different places now you can park them. Cedar Point has a campground.
They do.
I mean,
yeah,
it's a great way to
absolutely.
go, certainly. But I'll tell you what, if you're out and about camping, hard side is the way to go, certainly. Don't do the pop-ups, and boy, tents are very risky because those rain showers are going to be coming and going, especially now that we're getting into autumn. Let's take a look at how things are faring as far as the forecast goes, but we're going to start with day length because this is something that I think is pretty interesting. Today we have 13 hours, 2 minutes, and 45 seconds of day length, right? Then as we move forward, well, obviously things are going to be getting a little shorter. In 1 week, we will have 12 hours, 43 minutes, and 52 seconds of day, okay? 1 month from now, 11 hours, 21 minutes, and 38 seconds, and only because I really like to grind it in. December 21st, that's the shortest day of the year, right? 9 hours, 10 minutes, and 12 seconds of day. So obviously we still have like 4 hours of daylight to lose here as time goes on. So hang in there, everybody. Enjoy it while we have it. And there is some beautiful weather that's coming, whether you are going to be out camping or just maybe walking around the block. Temperatures are going to be fading back into the 60s as we head through the night tonight. Cloudy skies are around. That's not going to be changing, and it's going to stay muggy, unfortunately. We're in the upper 70s to right around 80 right now. We are seeing some peaks of sun here and there, but we've also had these rain showers that have been coming and going. One healthy shower now to the east of Dover and New Philadelphia, and then some scattered showers farther north along the 480 and 80 corridor. But otherwise, I think things are pretty much part and parcel with what we're used to. As far as traffic goes, well, we really don't have too much going on in Northeast Ohio on the main roads. Everything as far as the main arteries are flowing along nicely. Quick peek at the big picture. You can definitely see there's two chunks of weather to talk about, right? The one chunk that's hung up over us right now will continue with clouds. We'll continue with scattered showers tonight and tomorrow. And then we're going to have to contend with this thing by the time we get to Thursday night and into Friday. So it's a 1-2 punch that's coming in. National Designer hour-by-hour forecast does have isolated shower chances coming and going as we head through the night tonight. Partly to mostly cloudy skies otherwise. By daybreak tomorrow, we're going to be sitting at about 70 degrees or so. We'll have a southeasterly breeze, mostly cloudy skies. And we can't rule out scattered showers from time to time, but we're also going to be having plenty of sun peaks, just like today, with temperatures topping out in the low 80s. By the way, your Universal Windows Direct forecast does have that cool down coming in on Friday. So we have isolated lake effect rain showers back in the forecast with those temperatures in the low 70s. That's the second punch that's sitting in the Canadian border right now. But after that, we cruise right back up towards summer standards with temperatures recovering back into the mid 80s next week. Jay?
Well, Betsy, even with the coronavirus, there's still plenty to do this fall. Festivals, apple picking, and pumpkin spice everything. We've got your Ohio Fall bucket list items when What's New comes right back. And we're showing off your back-to-school pictures. It was the first day of first grade and fifth grade for these Kenston students. Have a great year, ladies. Looking good.
The other ways that colleges have tried to reduce this, and you might have seen this, when you were moving in, is that they've reduced the number of people.
Let me go over there.
Well, it's time now to see what's been clicking in Cleveland today. And for that, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Betsy. We are starting off with that confession from Cavaliers star forward Kevin Love today. He's saying it out loud that it was a sacrifice to play alongside LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. Love told JJ Redick on his podcast that playing with those guys was a big adjustment because he went from being a guy that shot 20 shots a game to basically being relegated to a three-point shooter. He said he got it, though, calling Irving a magician with the ball and James a once-in-a-generation talent who is arguably the greatest player ever. Love said he has no regrets and will always cherish his 2016 NBA title with the Cavs. In honor of the 25th anniversary of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this week, we asked you all to share your favorite concert experiences in Ohio. Here's what you said. Morgan Edwards loved seeing Genesis, The Pretenders, Sammy Hagar, and more at Richfield Coliseum. For Sylvia Wilson, it was seeing Parliament Funkadelic in the 70s at Public Auditorium. She couldn't get enough of that funk beat. And Eileen Glesk's favorite show was The Temptations at Leo's Casino on the east side of Cleveland when Muhammad Ali was in the audience back when he still went by Cassius Clay. What an experience that must have been. Now, speaking of cool experiences, we have your fall fun guide courtesy of WKYC contributor Laura DeMarco. First up, St. Rocco's Festival is going drive-through this weekend. Get your Italian food Friday through Monday from 11 to 7. Cedar Point's Tricks and Treats Fall Fest kicks off September 12th. That's replacing Hollow Weekends. And also, of course, we have the Mapleside Farms Pumpkin Village. That's reopening on September 19th. Space is limited, so get those tickets early. We've got all that linked on WKYC.com. Betsy, I think my favorite part about Mapleside Farms is all their fun themed weekends like the Princess and Pirates to kick it off. I mean, what gets better than that?
Oh, being the nerd in me, it's the view. It's all about the view at Mapleside, and that is actually, you are looking at the start of Lake Effect. That is the Lake Effect, the orographic lifting that you see out there. So thanks for letting me nerd out. It's a fun way to do it. Appreciate that. Thanks so much, Stephanie.
Of course.
We'll see you again soon. All right, well, coming up at 5:30, the FDA green-lighted a new coronavirus treatment, but did they do it too quickly? We have another agency's findings on that topic.
Then, Betsy, we are at home with Baker Mayfield. You remember those commercials last year, the progressive?
So funny.
We've got a whole new campaign coming up this year. The Browns quarterback will put on a different face in some of them this year. They're fun, and we'll show you some of them when What's New comes right back. Stay with us.
Alexei, hey, I got you. Hi, Jay. German Chancellor Angela Merkel is demanding answers. Chardon's Board of Education is standing behind the superintendent.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Yes, it is. Welcome back to the second half hour of What's New, along with Betsy Kling. I'm Jay Crawford. Happy Wednesday to everybody. Bets, we need good news wherever we can get it. And we know the stock market took a beating right after COVID started in February, March. Right. We saw the Dow go from 29,000 all the way down to 18,000, historic losses. Today, it closed above 29,000 for the first time since it went all the way down into the 18s. And the other two indices, the NASDAQ and S&P 500, also closing today at record highs. So that's good news for anybody invested in a 401k program. And the way I look at it, we can use good news anytime we can find it.
We certainly can. And I'll tell you what, things are developing constantly on the COVID front as well. And that's actually kind of related to our top talker that we're going to get to right now here at 5:30. Developing news on the coronavirus front. NBC News medical contributor Dr. Nahid Bhadelia joins us live. She's the medical director of the Special Pathogens Unit at Boston University Medical Center. It sounds like there should be a TV show about that. Doctor, new reports say that the CDC is telling states how to prepare to distribute a coronavirus vaccine as soon as early November. Now, does this mean that a vaccine is that close, or is this just states get ready?
Yeah, I got to say, if some of the work that needs to be done is necessary. So we're looking at one of the biggest rollouts of vaccines in modern history. You're going to have to get this to all the different communities. And so particularly in states that where public health departments may not have enough funding or the infrastructure to do that, the idea of doing this is a good idea. Let's get all the stuff together. The concern, though, is we don't know if the trials will show, the phase 3 trials, which is the large human efficacy trials for the vaccines that are currently out there, we don't know if there will be enough results in place to meet that November deadline. And that's where I think it gets a little bit tricky. What we'll have to see is whether or not the vaccine remains safe and remains effective. And part of what decides that is the number of infections that we see in communities where these vaccines are being distributed. Because remember, the test here is you're giving some people placebo, some people a vaccine, and you're seeing what the infection rates are if they go about their lives. And so some of this will just depend on the results. I think Dr. Fauci, though, says that he doesn't think that we might see effectiveness data until, unfortunately, the end of the year.
All right, so, it's all about treatment, right? So there's a lot of focus not only on the vaccine, but for the people who actually have coronavirus now and COVID-19, it's all about the treatments. And one of the treatments that we've heard about is convalescent plasma. And that's basically taking plasma from the blood of a recently recovered COVID-19 patient and using those antigens to get in there and help the person who still is afflicted with it to get better faster. So there was the green light on this. Let's do it. Let's get with it. But was that green light put in place too early?
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth about this. So one thing to sort of draw the distinction on is what the FDA sort of gave permission for is emergency use authorization, which is, not an approval, full approval, but to say that something shows promise. So we want to make sure it's available for physicians and patients who want to use that in particular individual cases. The big concern around that announcement, though, is that most people felt that there wasn't enough evidence, and a lot of the claims that were made about effectiveness, 35% decrease in mortality, the data doesn't really support that, and that's where the concern comes from, and that's why actually a lot of the professional societies actually still are saying that the most important thing to do is to complete the randomized controlled trials that would give us hope to show that this really is an effective therapy, because the last thing we want to do is put all that money, all that effort into a therapy that, without the randomized controlled trial doesn't even tell us if it's effective or not and might set false hopes for patients.
Well, as studies continue, research continues, it still comes down to keep your distance from people, wash your hands, wear a mask. All right.
You got it.
Thanks so much, Doctor. We do appreciate it. And we have more coverage, of course, on this coming up tonight on Nightly News starting at 6:30. Jay.
Well, Betsy, it is 5:34 right now. Time to get a check of the other headlines making news right now. Laura Queso is in the newsroom with that. Hello to you, Laura.
Hi, Jay. Well, German Chancellor Angela Merkel is demanding answers from Russia after she says a Russian opposition leader was poisoned with a Soviet-era nerve agent. Alexei Navalny fell into a coma on a flight back to Moscow from Siberia 2 weeks ago. He is one of the Russian President Vladimir Putin's fiercest critics. Merkel calls this an attempted murder with the aim of silencing him. Chardon's Board of Education is standing behind the superintendent's decision to ban the thin blue line flag from school events. Last Friday, a football player carried that flag onto the field. The player said they were supporting first responders, but other members of the community expressed concern that this was a political act. Now, under board policy, political activity is not allowed. However, the board said it greatly values its local law enforcement and also first responders. Chris Wallace of Fox News will moderate the first presidential debate here in Cleveland. That's on September 29th. President Donald Trump and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden will square off at the health education campus of Case Western Reserve University and the Cleveland Clinic. You can watch the debate on Channel 3 starting at 9 o'clock that night. Jay.
Big news, Cleveland in the spotlight. Laura, we're all looking forward to that first debate, and we will see you again in 24 minutes for What Matters Most at 6. Yes, he is back, not just on the field. Baker Mayfield is back on your TV this fall in a new round of At Home with Baker Mayfield ads. Those are the Progressive insurance commercials that we all loved so much last year. We're all spending a lot more time at home right now, and that's true for Baker and his wife, Emily, as well. Here's a look at one of the ads.
Errands can be tough. When we go to the grocery store, the walk-in can be.
It's just the walk in and out. But you know, every time we drive back up to our home, it's beautiful. We realize why we picked it. But then there's just a couple hassles.
Yeah.
The prep for a storm here.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Glad you mentioned that.
I told you we need a dome.
I'm not opposed to it, but we have other priorities first. You know. We'll get there.
Seat warmers.
Seat warmers. As you can tell by the lawn, I mean, he takes great pride in it, so.
Proud to show it off, without a doubt.
If I have to dig up one more perennial from the end zone, I don't know what I'm gonna do. He's growing basil in the press box. He's got mint up in the luxury suites. The stadium smells fantastic. I got to admit that.
These are so good. By the way, I would not be opposed to basil in the press box. If anybody wants to start growing it, I'd be just fine with that.
The mint would be a nice touch too, but seat warmers,
yeah,
definitely.
You know, you talk about your expensive home improvement projects. A dome, I think that's going to be pricey. Now, there are also a couple of other new characters, Mark and Marcus, and they're going to give us a day in the life of a yard marker. They're, of course, held together by a chain, so you see where we're going with that. They park cars.
Yeah.
Shower and hang out at home. It's lots of fun. We posted the ads on our app and our website, so you can go check them out. Pretty cool, Bets.
It is. We haven't talked to Emily Mayfield in a while. We're going to have to chat it up with her.
We're going to try to get her on tomorrow. You know, I want to talk to her about shooting them. It looked like it was a lot of fun. It should be a lot of fun.
I want to talk to her about where she's getting facials done and stuff, too, because she's inspired me a whole lot.
That's a secret. Well, coming up next, music to get pumped up to. Arnold Schwarzenegger's surprising workout jam. Betsy, you could have given me 1,000 guesses. I never would have picked this
I love this story.
That's so cool.
It makes me happy. And you know what else makes me happy? The fact that it's still warm, but we are starting to kind of get some little hints of fall in the forecast. I'll explain straight ahead.
50s I saw, Bets.
Yeah, in the mornings. Like, don't start to panic yet. I know people are getting very worried, you know, and I've had a couple of people like, oh, it's September. That means frost. And, you know, you start talking about change and it's going to get cooler, and immediately everybody figures, oh, that's it for the gardens. Let's buy the mums. Not so fast.
Not yet.
We're not ready yet. Right. But I understand why they're thinking that, because take a look at some of these earliest frosts on record.
Whoa.
Look at Mansfield. August 27th. Now, granted, it was 1846, but August 27th for a frost. August 29th in Youngstown. How about Akron Canton? It's September 14th and September 21st for Cleveland. Yes, that's Cleveland, even with the lake. So keep in mind, we are kind of in frost territory now. Mid to late September is usually when we start to get into frost territory, and our latest frosts on record are like in October. So we're kind of dancing around the fringes, right? We're not quite there yet, though. Temperatures still well into the 70s, even some 80s still on the map at this hour. Mostly cloudy skies continue. Sun peaks here and there, but we do also have those showers that are still traipsing through the area. Pretty light, not nearly the widespread coverage we had this morning. Heaviest shower right now is down in Carroll County. Otherwise, just kind of spits and sprinkles out in the area. Farther to the west, there's another storm system, though. This is going to drag a cold front through. This is the one that's going to really usher in cooler, drier air. It won't get here till really Friday, but it should be a notable change. So yeah, we're stuck with clouds. Yeah, we're stuck with rain chances for tomorrow, pretty slim chances, and the humidity, but then things really do take a change. And as far as the temperatures go, you can see it's not a huge polar plunge that's coming, so don't freak out yet. But it definitely will be kind of a change. Now let's take a look at the big jet stream pattern, because of course you're thinking, well, as soon as we get cold, it's going to stay cold and we're never going to get warm again until June next year. That is not the case in Northeast Ohio, specifically in fall. This is a look at your jet stream pattern. We have this little dip going on, so the cooler air is moving south, and that kind of gets cemented in as we head through the weekend. But once we get through the weekend and we start to swing into next week, take a look at what happens. We get a flipped pattern, and by a week from today, we are back into the heat, we're back into the humidity, and everyone will be happy once again that summer is continuing. So we have a little bit of something for everybody in our National Design Mart forecast. Here's the hour-by-hour forecast for the day tomorrow. Maybe a few showers coming and going. Temperatures should still make it into the low 80s. It's still going to feel kind of muggy for you. Your universal Windows Direct Outlook has the temperature cooling down into the 70s for Friday, a lot less humid, but some lake effect rain showers could be around. Then we start to see that flip taking place. Temperatures begin to take off, and Jay, we're right back into the mid 80s with a chance of storms a week from today.
All right, that's good. That's where I like to be. Mid 80s, love it. Betsy, thanks. An interesting casting for this year's Dancing with the Stars. The Billionaire Club has a new member, and which artist was Arnold Schwarzenegger listening to recently as he was pumping iron? It will surprise you. We learn all about it in today's Pop Break.
Get ready, you cool cats and kittens.
Not that we're spying, but ABC has finally announced the cast for the upcoming season of Dancing with the Stars. And on top of the Tiger Queen herself, Carol Baskin, the show is chock full of incredible actors, singers, and reality stars. Bachelorette Caitlin Bristow and singer-rapper Nelly, just to name a few. This season, going to be one to watch. According to Forbes magazine, the United States now has a new billionaire. Actor, producer, and philanthropist Tyler Perry is the newest member of the exclusive Billionaire Club here in the States. The announcement is pretty historic, too, because Business Insider reports that Perry is only the 7th black billionaire in the U.S. That list also includes big names like Jay-Z, Oprah Winfrey, and Michael Jordan. And seeing as Perry once was homeless, it means even more. And if you follow actor and former governor of California Arnold Schwarzenegger on Instagram, you might be used to his workout videos, which he posts a lot of. But recently, the Terminator uploaded a video of him pumping iron and lifting what looks to be more than 200 pounds. Okay, now that is impressive, but the part of the video that caught the attention of Arnold's son Patrick was Dad's workout music. Patrick responded to his dad's post, writing, "Nothing like crushing a gym session to Taylor Swift. Feel ya, Pops." Listen again. How about that? Arnold is a Swiftie.
I didn't see that one coming.
I love Taylor Swift, so I am totally down with this. Arnold Schwarzenegger is 73 years old. He is still working out 15 times harder than I ever have in my life, and that's kind of embarrassing to say, but I like that we can connect over Tay-Tay.
Well, when you're Mr. Universe, you know, that's a lot to live up to, and no matter how old you are, you have to keep moving that iron.
Yep.
Arnold still looks great.
He does.
Keep going, man. Keep going. Okay, up next, the awesome surprise for one hardworking student. Bets, this is proof that good things really do happen to good people. And ahead at 6 on What Matters Most, how Lorain County continues to grapple with issues of race, from the positive steps to the long road still ahead.
All right, time for your pop quiz question in honor of the Rock Hall's 25th anniversary here in Cleveland. Who is the only artist to get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 3 times? Is it Michael Jackson, Paul McCartney, or Eric Clapton? We'll have the answer when we return. All right, here's the answer now. You should have heard Jay throwing down some musical knowledge over here. I was quite impressed.
Was I right, though?
Ticking things off nicely. So
Did I
who's
get
the
it?
only artist to get into the Rock Hall 3 times? That would be Eric Clapton. Well done, Jay. He was inducted first as a member of the Yardbirds in '92, then as a member of Cream, and most recently for his solo career. That was in the year 2000.
I would guess that Michael's in as solo and Jackson 5, and McCartney either solo and Beatles or Wings and Beatles.
Oh, I think it's obviously Beatles. And
Sure.
I think solo.
Definitely Beatles. I would think Wings, but I don't know. Maybe but he's in twice. And Clapton, that's pretty cool. Okay, let's revisit our poll question now. This is a good one, Bets. You mentioned over 1,000 people weighed in. Will you get the flu shot this season? And I am so glad to see that number in the 85% range, because I would love it to be in the 95 to 100% range. You know, we had Monica on earlier. It's It's just a good idea. And I know it's not always 100% effective, but look, even if it is 50% effective, Bets, I'd take that protection over none.
Right, and it doesn't always, like, obviously keep the flu away from you, but it can definitely tame down the symptoms if and when you are exposed to it.
It is a miserable experience too, man. I know for those that have had it and they didn't believe in the flu shot, they'll do anything and everything to make sure they don't get it again. So, have you gotten yours yet?
I haven't gotten it yet. We're going to have our tests here at the station. They're kind of working it out. So that's kind of a new thing, too, because usually you can get it through work.
Right.
But with COVID and nobody's at work, how are we going to manage to do this? But there's a way.
Yep, I'll be getting mine. My mom already got hers. Good for you, Mom. Okay, today's Show Us Something Good comes from Lorraine. Lindsay Malloy is a teacher at Horizon Science Academy there. She posted this video of her rapping a song on Facebook. She says she plans to share this with her students in order to keep them motivated during this crazy time. Check it out.
Hey, look, I make plans now, I make teacher moves. And you put in work because that's what students do. I hope to see you on the screen so I can show you what to do. I'm a boss. You gonna learn today. That's what we do in school. Google Classroom.
Speaking of something, that's pretty slick, right?
I love it, yeah.
I do like that. That's pretty crafty. I'm sure the kids are laughing, but that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of something good, as our Computers for Kids drive comes to an end, it's only right that we start getting those computers into the hands of those kids who need them. Brandon Simmons was there as one high school student got a big surprise. It was just in time to get back to school. Check this out.
Early in our Computers for Kids drive, we met 17-year-old DeMarco Haynes.
I come to the Boys and Girls Club and do graphic design, but I don't have a computer at home.
A junior at Cleveland's Martin Luther King High, he knows the digital divide all too well. Many students head to the Boys and Girls Club to complete homework and use computers, since they don't have them at home, just like DeMarco. But today, that changes. DeMarco thought he was coming to the club to do more graphic design work. Waiting for him was a computer of his own, free of charge, thanks to PCs for People.
I didn't expect this, man.
Unexpected, but well-deserved, as DeMarco often relied on a cell phone for online learning last spring.
We have so many kids that are doing remote learning. Technology is essential. We need it for workforce development, telehealth.
That's what made this Computers for Kids drive so important. Northeast Ohioans stepped in, donating nearly 1,000 computers to help close the digital divide.
2020, this global pandemic has really revealed a lot of social issues this year, but specifically our need for technology.
And it doesn't stop here. Even with companies like Cross Country Mortgage and others pledging to donate thousands of computers to bridge the gap, there's still plenty of work to be done.
The need is going to continue to grow.
In Cleveland, I'm Brandon Simmons, 3 News.
All right, Brandon, thanks. DeMarco, congrats. Enjoy that computer. Well, coming up, this hilarious and adorable 3-year-old is going to try to earn his first martial arts belt. You've got to see it. It's our worth the watch, and it is next.
Hey, testing 1, 2, 3, 4. In the past, he's told 3 News.
Hey, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Good evening. I'm Laura K. Show. What do you
Okay, we wrap up our Wednesday of What's New with our Worth the Watch. And Betsy, this is so good. A 3-year-old's attempt to break his very first board in a martial arts class. Watch this and enjoy it.
Break it and shout. Ready? Go! One leg, one leg, okay? Ready? Go! This way. Okay, right leg. Ready? Go! No.
Okay, that happened for about a minute until he finally gets it.
Yeah.
And he earns his white belt. That is so cool.
That is so cute. Little baby jumped on it. I love that. That's the best part. And it held him.
Yeah, I know. And he looked around like, is this what it's supposed to be like? No, that's okay. He's our Karate Kid for today.
So cute.
And he made us laugh. And we hope you join us tomorrow for another episode.